What's going on, champs and chambits? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video, we're talking about the magical world of Snapshot Quest, which is the new quest line that will be added onto throughout the season, and it's basically kind of, like the storyline. You know how we used to have voice-acted quests and all that type of stuff before? It's basically that minus the voice acting, and instead is going to be related to building onto some lore of older characters that may or may not have even been included in the Fortnite lore before. Now, as of right now, the only quest line that's available, which I've already done, is Aura's quest line. This is something that you may have already experienced in game, where you have to go back and forth between the Aura NPC on the island and actual areas that, help reveal more and more of the lore, but it was an interesting little way for Epic Games to start this new Snapshot storyline off, and if you kind of forgot what Aura's quests were, in order they were to steal field notes about the mysterious chalice, they were to report to Aura and, talk about your findings and everything in order to help find the chalice of Cubetrophy, which is kind of, a hint towards, or I guess, a mention towards Kevin the Cube, and how this random chalice thing is kind of related to it in some way or another. You were then supposed to investigate petroglyphs at Rumble Ruin to help locate the chalice. There was like 3 or 4 of them. Then you bring the sketches to Aura, and then you use that to locate a map where the chalice is, and then you have to do all this other stuff, such as, making a gold bars offering, and then giving the chalice to Aura. All this was kind of, showing Aura's, characteristics of being this treasure hunter a little bit more, kind of putting us on a mini quest, and giving us a lot more dialogue to attach to the Aura character overall, but it isn't going to be just Aura's storyline, because as you can tell, these are Snapshot quests, and not Aura storyline quests, right? So what we're going to be seeing in the future updates, not in this one because they're only adding the Aura one for this one right now, is we will be seeing more and more characters getting their own mini storyline where you go to the NPC, go back and forth, doing different things to build on some lore, but also to build on the character itself, and the next stage of it is going to be none other than Triggerfish, a character that we actually saw in the cinematic for the new season, is going to be getting some storyline aspects very soon as we go throughout the season and as we learn more and more about what's going on here, and if it relates to this Cubetrophy chalice type of thing. Now, other than Triggerfish, it appears that the 3rd and 4th Snapshot quests are going to be more of the lore-related things, and maybe around that time is when we're going to get voice acting back in the game, as if you guys haven't paid attention, Sloan has voice acting in the game for these audio logs you can find throughout the jungle biome in the game. They're not really like a quest-related thing or anything, but just something you go up to, you're able to interact with, and you get a voice log from Sloan kind of explaining their storyline and everything currently going on, and more audio logs will actually be added in future updates, but on top of these audio logs, part 3 and part 4 of the Snapshot storyline is related to Innovator Sloan, meaning that we're most likely going to start taking orders from Sloan once again, going back and forth between Sloan and whatever the quest line is, in order to build on that storyline and build on whatever, the main topic or focus on this season is, and who knows, maybe it could lead us up to a live event or something like that later down the line. But yeah, right now, the first 2 Snapshot quest lines are all related to different characters on the Fortnite island that never really got too much lore to them before, such as, Aura and Triggerfish, and as we're going forwards, we're going to start going more and more into the lore-heavy things, with Sloan making their triumphant return into a lot of storyline-related stuff. And I mean, even if you remember last season, Sloan kind of got hinted at, because we had those payphones that would kind of, ring or whatever, but when you would answer it, the line would go silent, and as you guys remember, back when Sloan was first being added in the game, we got payphones, and if you guys remember, we used to accept Sloan's quest lines and stuff through payphones themselves. So it's kind of like, hey, there's been a lot of innovation and a lot of hype up towards Sloan returning. Sloan's officially returned, even though they're an item shop skin type of situation, but they're now able to return in the game, and throughout the lore system, they're able to actually be a part of whatever this big thing is going on in the island. And if you have been paying attention to the whole entire lore of the audio logs that are currently available to us in game, Sloan's whole entire thing is, hey, a mysterious person who I'm not going to name, and by the way, this is Sloan not naming it, I'm not for sure who the mysterious person is, helped me get back to the island or whatever, they helped me back to safety or whatnot, and I have a plan. Regarding what this plan is, we currently have no clue, but it's going to be interesting to see that, Sloan's back on the island once again. We're going to have to try trusting Sloan or maybe not trusting Sloan, and potentially seeing how this plan may relate to a live event or something like that. And there's even some other stuff, such as if you go to the in-game radio through the vehicles, Optimus Prime has his own radio station where he talks about reality and how there's a lot of stuff going on and how it's going to like collapse, or doomsday's imminent minute, something along those lines, and it really just kind of gives more into this whole entire thing of, oh, there's some build-up already going on for potentially a big live event later down the line, or just, you know, some major story implications, especially since they got Optimus Prime voice acting on the radio, which is something that I said I wanted Epic Games to do more of a while ago, if you guys recall, where I was like, just more voice acted quest lines with, you know, IPs and all that type of stuff where we actually hear the character's voice in game, and we're finally getting it. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this type of stuff builds up to, you know, live events or whatever else happens later down the line. But another thing to keep in mind here is that Sloan might not be working with the IO, because if you talk to the Sloan NPC as Gunner, who is an IO member, Sloan kind of is like, no, you know, I'm done with that type of stuff. And actually, pulling up the official dialogue lines right here over on my other monitor, Sloan's exact words to Gunner is, "I told you, I'm done." So seeing as Gunner's related to the IO, maybe this is saying, "I told you, I'm done," you know, trying to be a part of the IO or something, and maybe Sloan turns from this character that we once thought of as a villain, and pretty much kind of acted like a villain. I mean, you guys remember what happened during the live event, and has decided to take a new leap of faith in order to become this more of a justice hero type of character, right? It's something that we kind of just gotta wait and see how it works in game, and it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves over time. Now, who is the mysterious character that actually helps Sloan? That might be Lorenzo, because the actual dialogue for Lorenzo, actually no, not Lorenzo, my bad, I mean Relic, because the actual dialogue for Relic, who's an upcoming boss on the island in a future update, is, "Just because you got me back on my feet doesn't mean I owe you," and that is Sloan obviously saying that to Relic themselves. So it's going to be interesting to see if this Relic boss has any implications on Sloan's story and everything, and oh my god, the sliding was intense there, but it's just interesting to see how all this evolves over time. And I mean, especially knowing that Relic's going to become an upcoming jungle boss, it definitely adds to some interesting things. And it also leads into what tomorrow's video might talk about. I don't know if I'm gonna make it tomorrow's video or not, because Relic might actually be another version, or, you know, might be a hint towards some of the old 7 technology returning to the Fortnite Island from an era before it was a part of the 7. Who knows, maybe the 7 learned this technology from Relic in the past and eventually used it for their own weapons and stuff in the future, but that is something that you'll have to hear about in the next video. So yeah, Sloan's return to the Fortnite Island. They're going to have some upcoming questline related stuff very soon, and it's going to be very interesting to see how those snapshot quests relate to the lore and relate to how Sloan and, you know, these other characters have evolved over time, and just give more faces to faceless skins in the game. But with that said, I hope you champs and champions enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider subscribing to support the content I create, and let me know what you've been thinking about the new season in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another upload. Peace out.